Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in grace and peace, to you elect around the four winds, believing and pushing this truth in all sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. This is your fellow servant, Rakalia from the GMS Orlando camp, coming at you with a quick impromptu lesson, exhortation as it were, to walk boldly in this ministry of ours. All right, walk boldly through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai. And the inspiration for this lesson comes from a precept that one of the brothers put in the chat yesterday, which was Philippians 1, verse 5 and 6. And, it really sparked something for me in the spirit, because I've been reading First Kings, and I've been reading the account, rereading the account of Elijah against the prophets of Baal, and there's a certain spirit, that the men of old used to walk in, when it came to serving the Lord, when it came to the ministry. They walked in great boldness and confidence in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and there's a difference between arrogance and confidence. And if you want to see that difference or read about that difference, I encourage you to read the book of First Kings, the 18th chapter. You read about our forefather Abraham. You can read about Isaac, Yaquab. Excuse me. It's like you can read about the Apostle Paul. You can read about Eleazar, the 7 sons. All right, Yahushua himself. All right, we have many examples of what it means to walk boldly and confidently through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai. This world and outside sources shouldn't dictate, our spirit and our outlook on this journey of ours. The only thing that should dictate, our spirit, is the spirit of the Lord. These people don't have any say so. This world doesn't have any say so. Ultimately, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has the last say so in our lives and in the world in general. And knowing that's the power that we serve, and in understanding the prophecies, that are taking place right now, understanding the will of the Lord as it's playing out in reality, is power. It's power. And that's another reason to walk boldly and confidently through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. The world is seeking for answers. The world is confused. The world is in a state of lamentation, and these people are confused. And pretty soon, they're going to spiral further into the chaos, when Esau comes down with that great wrath. But as for us of the household of faith, we have the answers. Like it says in Isaiah 33 and 6, wisdom and knowledge have been the stability of our times, and the fear of the Lord has been our treasure. As the world has continued to spiral further and further into chaos, us of the household of faith have been being built up. We've been growing stronger and more resilient through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Lord willing, we find ourselves of the elect. But I just had a couple of precepts I wanted to bring out. Lord wants us edifying unto you, exhorting unto you, to walk boldly and confidently through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. But this is Philippians 1 and verse 5. It says, for your fellowship in the gospel from the first day until now, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it unto the day of Yahushua HaMashiach. And it all, confidence really boils down to your understanding that the Lord is with you. That the Lord is with you always, wherever you go, whatever situation you may find yourself in. King David said himself, let me see. This is Psalms chapter 139 and verse 7. It says, whither shall I go? Let me see. This is, I'm going to start at verse 1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. All right, so this is a psalm of David. Jumping down to the point. It says, whither shall I go from thy spirit? Or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to thee, for thou hast possessed my reins, thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. And just like King David, we're coming to that understanding that wherever we find ourselves in gross darkness, in peril, in distress, the Lord is with us to lead us, to guide us, wherever we may be. The Lord is with us, Akim. And that's something to always keep in mind, and that's a confidence booster. Understanding that the Lord is fighting on our behalf, as we fight for the Lord to the best of our ability, in this flesh, and these chains of darkness, as we fight to the best of our ability, the Lord is fighting for us. And he's with us to work toward our good, like it says in Romans the 8th chapter, But going back, I'm gonna get this in the NLT. Let me see what it says. This is Philippians 1, verse 5 in the NLT. For you have been my partners in spreading the good news about Yahweh HaMashiach from the time ye first heard until now. And I am certain that the Heavenly Father who began the good work in you will continue his work until it is finally finished on the day when HaMashiach Yahushua returns. And this is the confidence that we have to have within ourselves. This is a part of putting therefore on as the elect. It's a mindset. It's an understanding. It's not arrogance, to believe in the Lord. It's not arrogance to put your trust in the Lord. That's what our forefathers did. That's what all of our forefathers did. It's what Yahushua did. In today's day and age, it will be considered arrogance, to boast in our power, to boast in the strength of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. In today's convoluted, twisted world, what Elijah did will be considered arrogant. Oh, you shouldn't mock the prophets of Baal. They have truth too. Man, fuck all that, man. They don't have no truth. The only truth resides within Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. That's the only God there is. That's the only God, true and living power. Point, period, blank. Ain't nothing else to say about that. I don't want to hear your fucking opinion. Hey, matter of fact, where he at? He taking a piss? Well, why he taking a piss? Hey, the Lord gonna rain fire on this wood. Hey, just gotta put it into perspective. But the men of old walk with confidence. They had a certain understanding, of the will of the Heavenly Father and his will within their own life, within their lives, and they had an understanding that the Lord was with them. He was just a call away, so to speak. But I want to go back to the KJV because when the brother put that precept into the chat, I looked up this word, and the 6th verse, it says, being confident of this very thing, that he which had begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Yahushua HaMashiach. And I looked up that word good, right, in the blue letter, and it's Strong's G 1:8, agathos. And when you get it, it says benefit, good. It says of good constitution or nature, useful, salutary, good, pleasant, agreeable, joyful, happy, excellent, distinguished, upright, honorable. All right, this is the work that the Lord has begun within us. Lord willing, this work continues, and Lord willing, we continue in the work. All right, but the work that's been begun in us through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is honorable. It's excellent. It's distinguished. It's upright. It's useful. It's agreeable, pleasant, joyful. It's happy. This is the work that the Lord has begun within us. And understanding this, hey, this is a confidence booster, man. The work that's being performed in us right now is honorable. It's distinguished. And like it says in 1 John, the 3rd chapter, it doesn't appear what we shall be now, but we know that when the Lord returns, we shall be like him. This is a good work that's been performed within our lives, man. And it's another reason to walk boldly in this ministry of ours, man. Even more so now than ever. Walking boldly through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, understanding what we understand and knowing, what we know and what's for to come. We know Yahushai's kingdom is going to be established, and it's in the making of being established as we speak. We know that. And we know that the victory is going to go to Yahushai and the elect at the end of the day. No matter what Esau has going on. But I had got this word, man. And led me to this here in 2 Corinthians chapter 2. 2 Corinthians chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 14. But I want to get it, in the NLT. It says, "Now thanks be to the Heavenly Father, unto the Heavenly Father, which always causeth us to triumph in Hamashiach, and maketh manifest the savor of his knowledge by us in every place. For we are unto the Heavenly Father a sweet savor of Hamashiach, in them that are saved and in them that perish." All right, when you get that in the NLT, it reads as such. "But thank the Heavenly Father. He has made us his captives and continues to lead us along in Hamashiach's triumphal procession." And that's exactly what's happening right now. The procession of Yahushai. All right, that's what happens before a king is introduced. You have the procession. You have the heralds, those who blow the trumpets, those who lay down the carpet, who throw the rose petals, who pave the way, who make sure the way is clear for the king to step. Right now, what's happening is the procession of Yahushai. It says, "Now he uses us to spread the knowledge of Hamashiach everywhere, like a sweet perfume. Our lives are a Hamashiach-like fragrance rising up to the Heavenly Father. But this fragrance is perceived differently by those who are being saved and by those who are perishing." And this is a sweet savor unto the Lord. This is a good, it's like sandalwood, goddamn. Frankincense and myrrh, damn it. It's a sweet savor. The Lord loves this work. The Lord loves when we, show our love toward him, by doing the work. The Lord loves this by making our bodies a living sacrifice. This is a sweet savor unto the Lord. He enjoys this. That's why it says in Philippians 1:6, when we went into that word good, it said that this was this was excellent, this was a distinguished work. It was honorable. It says, "But this fragrance is perceived differently by those who are being saved and by those who are perishing, because to those who are perishing, the 2/3 and so on and so forth, this is a smoke in their nose." It's a smoke in their motherfucking nose. As soon as they hear the truth, it start to get the huffing and puffing, man. And it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like that. This only smells good. This is only a sweet savor. This is only a good work to those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And being potentially a part of those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, it's another reason to walk boldly through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai concerning the ministry. But that's, all I have. Lord, once is edifying unto you elect. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and double honors to our apostles, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and grace and peace to you elect around the four winds, believing and pushing this truth in all sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. Shalom.